Hey everybody, how's it going? Ahmet Candan again. I'm here to make a new video regarding my SPX 0 DTE or same day expiration strategy. This time we're going to go over a few updates from my last video that I made last year, and also to talk about my trade journal. I customized it, or I made a trade journal to specifically journal the trades I use with it or make with the strategy, and it's a fantastic journal that I've been kind of tinkering with for a while, but I think I finally got it to a place where I'm happy with it, and I think it's time to get it out to the public, let you guys use it for absolutely free. But before we get started talking about anything, quick little reminder: I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax advisor. Obviously, trading stocks and/or options involves a lot of risk, so make sure you talk to a financial advisor, and trade at your own risk. I don't want to take on any of your risks, so yeah, let's get going. Obviously, I just like to show people what I do, and you make the choice on how you're going to trade. Whether or not you're going to implement any of the methods or strategies that I use. But again, what we're talking about today is my SPX strategy. I made a video last year, like I mentioned earlier, where I dive in decent depth on how to use the strategy. In this video, we'll talk a little bit about the strategy. I made some updates to the strategy, but also like I said, most of it's going to be on how to use the journal. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, as we're looking at the journal, first rule is you're only going to be entering values into the grayed out cells. The grayed out cells. You don't want to enter anything into the white cells, because all the white cells will have formulas, and you'll mess up the actual journal if you enter anything into the white cells. So only enter values into the grayed out cells, and that's the same for each tab. That being said, I do want to talk about reiterate something I brought up in the last video. When it comes to this strategy, if you are subject to the PDT rule or the pattern day trading rule, I do not suggest you utilize this strategy at all. There's thousands of other strategies out there that you could be successful with, but for this strategy, it really is imperative that you not be subject to the PDT rule. In other words, if you live in the United States, you have to have at least $25,000 in your trading account to effectively use this strategy. And obviously the biggest reason is because you won't properly be able to defend your positions, and even worse, if this happens to be your fourth trade in a 5-day period, and you're not able to exit, because this is a day trading strategy, a day trading option strategy. If you're not able to exit because it's your fourth trade, that could be a huge problem. You could be stuck in a position that goes against you, and you just have to watch your account dwindle down. And I've unfortunately know of traders who have had that happen to them, and so that's why I urge you not to utilize this strategy if you are, like I said, subject to the PDT rule. Okay, let's kind of get into it. All right, so by the way, obviously I'm gonna put this. I'll put the old video, link to the old video down in the comments below. But I'm also gonna put a link to the a Google Drive where you can download this journal for free. I don't sell anything. Don't really care to, but I just want to give people the chance to download this and use it if you find it to be useful. Awesome. But yeah, so As you're looking at the trade journal, you'll see that there's 4 tabs down below. You have your journal, then you have your daily totals, and it gives you a little bit more than just your daily totals. And then you have this tab called expected return, and I'll kind of show you what that's about. And then you have stuff. There's really only one thing on stuff, and that's the trade type. But you really don't ever need to mess with stuff. Journal is where we enter our individual spreads, and we'll definitely get into detail with this. But you'll notice up here there are some grayed out cells where we do need to enter some values before we can get started. Obviously, your beginning balance, really simple. I just threw $25,000 in here as a default value. These other ones we'll talk about here in just a little bit, and I'll give you an idea of why I have these values in here that I do. Daily, there's really nothing you need to enter on here except the dates of your expiration dates for that month. Obviously, you know, these are broken down January, February, March, April, May, all the way to December. All you need to do is enter the dates that you're going to trade. And again, for my strategy, we only trade same-day expirations, and we only trade the afternoon closing expirations. So we never ever trade regular expirations or morning expirations. We only trade the afternoon expirations. So that would be the weeklies, the end of months, and the quarterlies. So at the beginning of every single month, what I do is I come into my journal and I enter all the expirations for that coming month. For instance, today's the last day in February, so I would go to my brokerage and I would look up all the dates for March, and these just happen to be all the dates for March. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Usually it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday of every single month, or of every single week. However, obviously holidays can mess it up. You might get a Tuesday weekly expiration because of a holiday, like on a Monday or something. Or, like I said, end of months might land on a Tuesday or Thursday, or quarterly, same thing. They can land on a Tuesday and Thursday, which I like that because that's one more day to trade, one more day to make some money. But, yeah, let's talk a little bit about why I chose some of, how can I say this? Well, why I do some of what I do. I don't want to talk a whole lot about the strategy itself, but I kind of want to get into a little bit of little pieces of my strategy and why I do it certain ways. So what's neat about this expected return tab is it allows you to play with numbers in a very specific way. So I made this little expected return calculator, and if you're not very familiar with expected return, this should help you. I hope this will be able to answer some of your questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change these values to be able to better explain what's going on. So this cell right here is your win rate. This is how often you win. This cell is how often you lose. This is your average win. So in other words, if you average out, so if every time you won, if you were to average out your total profits, you'd enter that average amount here. If you were to average out your total losses, you'd enter that amount here. And so what the calculator actually does is it calculates your expected return averaged out. So in other words, if you were here, let's just do it this way. So let's say I were flipping a coin. Obviously, flipping a coin has a win rate, an expected win rate of 50%, right? You expect to win 50%, lose 50%. Now, let's say you paid me $5 every time it landed on heads, and I paid you $5 every time it landed on tails. Well, mathematically, after any number of trades, after n value or n number of trades, or n number of flips, in this case, I would expect to be completely even. I'm sorry, to have no wins, no losses. In other words, my expected return would be 0. And that's very intuitive. Most people can completely understand that. Obviously, if we had a magic coin that won 60% of the time and won 40% of the time, well, after any number of trades, I would expect to win on average, or an average return of $1 per trade. So after 10 trades, I should have $10 in my hand. After 100 trades, I should have $100 in my hand. And it goes the opposite way too. If I only win, if it only lands on heads 40% of the time, then I would expect to lose $1 every time. But imagine, let's go back to 50-50. So now we're back to a regular coin. But instead of winning $5 when it lands on heads, imagine I won $10. Well, in this case, after whatever set of or whatever value of flips I made, I can expect an average return of $2.50 per flip. So if I were to flip it 10 times, I should have $25 in my hand. If I win 50% of the time, but I'm making $10 each time and I'm only paying out $5 when I lose, I should expect after, like I said, 10 flips to have $25 in my hand. So you kind of get a sense of how this works. In our case, we're expecting to win 80% of the time. Now, with that, we're also, as you know, we're also expecting, we have what's called a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. In other words, we're risking twice as much as our expected return. So, in other words, imagine a coin that lands on heads 80% of the time. It's just some magic coin that lands on heads 80% of the time. But every time it lands on heads, you win, let's say, $15. But every time it lands on tails, you lose $30. Well, at the end of however many times you flip that coin, you're looking at an average profit of $6 per flip. Okay, so that's kind of how this calculator works. It's kind of neat. By the way, this 0.02%, what that is it tells you how much of this return or this profit, this average profit, the ratio of this profit divided by your beginning balance. So it's going to give you your return. This will be your profit per flip, and this will be your return per flip. Okay, so getting back to our scenario, let's just go back to, there we go. In our scenario, as you know, we try to make 1.5% on every single day, not per trade, because we might have multiple trades in one day, but every single day we're looking to make 1.5%. And so on any given day, I'm looking to risk 3% in order to make 1.5%. So that's where we get that 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. So $375 is 1.5% of $25,000, and $750 is 3% of $25,000. So after however many number of trading days, I can expect a profit of $150 per day on average. So after 10 days, I should expect $1,500 in profit, which would be 0.6% per day. So that's how that works. To give you a visual, I kind of made this. Oh, sorry, these are not supposed to be highlighted just yet. Okay, so this is just a nice little example of what I mean by this. So imagine 10 days. Now, if I win 80% of the day, 80% of the time, 8 out of 10 days, then what I did was I just chose day 4 and day 7. We just happened to lose. So on days 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10, I won 1.5%. I won $375, right? And that's our 1.5%. But on 2 of those days, I lost 3%. In other words, I lost $750. Okay, so, and again, that 2 out of 10 days will give you your 20% win or loss rate, or 80% win rate, right? So what you'll notice is this one red day, that one red day knocked out these 2 green days, right? Because these 2 green days add up to that one day of loss, right? And that makes absolute sense. Well, you can say the same thing about this day. That one red day right there knocked out this day and that day. So, in the end, I actually only have averaged out 4 green days that actually count toward my profit, my P&L, right? 4 green days at $375 profit each of those 4 days. That gives me my total of $1,500, and that's what I said I would get after 10 days, right? Because $150 per day after 10 days, I should expect $1,500. Well, this is a good visual of how we got to that $1,500. Also, if you think about it like this, we have 4 days that actually count toward our profit at 1.5%. Well, 1.5 times 4 equals 6%. All right, so 6%, and then if you were to average that down, or divide that by 10 to get the daily average, that's where we get the 0.6%. So every day, so now that we have that value, now we can use that value to project future profit. So that's what this does. What I did was I created an amateurization table to give me future value based on how many days we trade in 1 year. Typically, we trade 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and there's 52 weeks in a given year, so 156 trading days. So after day 1, made $150, that's my ending balance. After day 2, made $150.90, that's my ending balance. And if you follow this all the way out to 156 days, we're going to end up at 154%. So after 1 year of daily returns, compounded, of course, at 0.6%, we have our ending balance should be around $63,566, giving us a profit of $38,566. Again, that's a 154% return for the entire year, and that's why when I tell people that I make over 154 or 150% a year, that this is how I arrived there. And last year I did a little bit better than this, and so far this year it's looking good. So I know I'm only 2 months into it this year, but we'll get there. As long as I maintain this 80% win rate and I keep my average win around 1.5 and I keep my average loss below 3%, then it's a mathematical guarantee that I'm going to beat 154%. There's no other way to say it. I'm not saying that I'm going to accomplish that. I'm just saying if I do maintain those values, if I do keep that 80% win rate and keep that 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, 1.5 to 3%, or 3% to 1.5, it's a mathematical certainty I'm going to get to 154%. Like I said, last year I beat those numbers just a little bit, but I mean, in all sincerity, my win rate is a little bit better than 80%. It's really 82. But to give you an idea, watch this 154 after I change 80 to 82. So let's say you actually do get 82%. Watch what this 154 does. 192%. Just by increasing my win rate by 2%, I didn't change anything regarding my my risk reward at all. All I changed was my win rate, and like I said, in all sincerity, that's actually just a little bit more accurate. And the reason I say it's more accurate, as you'll remember from my prior video, when I enter, so I only do credit spreads on the SPX, same day expiration, as you know. So a bull put spread, I will typically look for a delta for the short leg. Short leg delta would be somewhere between a 7 or a 9 delta, somewhere in there, within that range. A bear call spread, I'm looking for a delta on the short leg anywhere between a 4 and a 6. So right then and there, my probability of profit, or my probability of profit is somewhere around 92 to 94%, right off the bat. Because I'm so far out of the money, I'm starting off the trade with such a high probability of profit. Now, the truth is, I don't get to maintain that entire probability of profit because I use stops. I use stops on every trade without question. You know my basic rule. I utilize a stop at 3 times the credit received only on the short leg, and that's it. If you have any questions about that, go watch my other video. But because I put stops on, that actually decreases my profit, or my probability of profit, by approximately 10% at the beginning of the day. As time goes on, that 10% dwindles down to almost nothing. But at the beginning of the day, that stop will actually decrease my win rate, or not my win rate, my probability of profit from 92-ish to about 82-ish. And that's why 82 is actually a really good number. It's very, very, very accurate. At least the way I trade, it's very accurate, you know. But to be conservative, I'm going to use 80 in my calculations as my goal. So, anyways, I mean, that's pretty much it for this tab. I can't really think of anything else that we use this tab for. This is for geeking out stuff. I like to geek out on math. So, anyways, let's get back to the journal. So what I'll do is, you'll notice I haven't entered any trades, which is the reason none of these cells are populated up here. But as we enter trades into the journal, you'll start seeing different values populate these cells up here. So what I'll do is, I'm just going to put a couple trades in from January, and then what I'll probably do is I'll put my entire month from February in, just so you can see what 1 month's numbers would look like, and how it kind of gives you all the information you really need. But just to give you an idea, what I'll do is we'll just start with just a few trades from January. So I'll pick one trade from the first day of the year. I think this was the first day of the year. So January 3rd. I'm not going to put anything in the deposit or withdrawal window for now. We'll go over that later. But let's just say for this one position, I took a put credit spread. And sorry. I took a put credit spread. You can use this drop down, but 99.9% of the time, you're going to see either a put credit spread or a call credit spread. Once in a while, in my journal, you might see something like a short put or a short call. And the reason you might see something like that is, let's say throughout the day, I opened up a bull put spread, and then later I was stopped out on my short leg. So now I only have that long leg open. And then I decide I want to get back into a credit spread. Well, I might just sell a put, and so that gets me, it kind of legs me back into a bull put spread. So once in a while you'll see that, but not too often. Most of the time you're just going to see put credit spread or call credit spread. So let's say, for instance, on this date, I during the planning phase, I think I can get 70 cents for a 30 wide strike. Now what will happen is it's going to suggest a position size. Now, this is where these numbers become important, because as we discussed earlier, I'm trying to get a daily return of 1.5%. Well, the reason I chose 1.5% is because empirical data, looking at all my trades in the past, I can achieve 1.5% 80% of the time. In other words, 8 out of 10 days, I'm able to get to 1.5%. It's just that simple. That's really what it comes down to. I kind of picked the number out of thin air, but not so much, because the truth is I chose that number because that's what I feel confident I can get to 8 out of 10 days. My win rate goal, 80%, and we already discussed why that is, because again, the deltas that we're using typically give us a win rate of, or a probability of profit of around 92 to 94%, minus the 10% decrease from the stops, and that's where we get this 80% win rate goal. The premium capture goal is one thing that confuses a few people. And what it is what I've discovered is I am really, really good at capturing 80 cents net every day. Well, not every day. 8 out of 10 days. 8 out of 10 days, I can capture 80 cents net net premium. That's just kind of what it comes down to. Now, the reason I say net premium is because I do have to take into account commissions and fees. Now, Tastyworks, I know their fee schedule, but obviously you have to check it out with your own brokerage. But to give you an idea, Tastyworks, they charge. Here, let me see what the latest one was, because it seemed like it did recently change. So typically, Tastyworks will charge 3.56 cents per spread, and of premium per spread. So they're going to charge 3.56 cents of premium to enter the spread, but they'll also charge 1.56 cents to exit the spread. So that means that per spread, I'm going to be losing 5.12 cents of premium. So let's just call it 5 cents of premium. So that means if I want to end the day at 1.5%, that means I have to net capture or capture 80 cents. Well, in order to capture 80 cents, that means I really need to capture 85 cents, because 5 cents of that is going to be eaten up by fees. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Well, what happens is I wrote the formula, or I wrote this journal to calculate how many contracts it would take to make 80 cents equal 1.5% return. I'll say that again. In this case, if I enter, or if I sell 5, what are these? Yeah, these are put credit spreads. If I sell 5 put credit spreads, and I capture, in this case, there's only 70 cents. So I would have to get something else. But let's try this. Let's just pretend we're going to get $1.10 out of this. If I capture 85 cents of this $1.10 premium, then what's going to happen is I will land at 1.5% return for the day. And that's just how that works. So in fact, let's just go with this $1.10 value. So that's the planning phase. Now, during the planning phase, again, it'll give you the position size, the suggested position size based on 80% premium capture for 1.5% return. But it'll also tell you what your gross P&L would be. It will estimate fees for you. You haven't entered your actual fees yet, but it will estimate the fees. And again, that's based on Tastyworks' fee schedule. And obviously it'll calculate your new balance for you. You'll also see that up here, it'll give you your year's P&L as well as your return. And it'll give you any balance over here. But what you won't see is anything in the current month. That's because we're not in the current month. The current month right now is February, and we're entering a trade that's dated in January. So that's why you don't see anything here. You also don't see anything here because it's not today. In order for this to populate with anything, we'd have to change this to 228. Now you'll notice some values being populated here. But anyways, okay. So let's go ahead and enter. So we planned it. We like it. We like our P&L. So let's go ahead and get into this trade. So I set the order up in my brokerage account or on my trading platform. I send it. Order gets filled, and now I can enter my entry info here. And so you have your long strike and your short strike for your credit spread. That's pretty self-explanatory. Your long entry price and your short entry price. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Number of contracts, I typically will always go with the suggested position size. And then obviously your entry cost, and that's your commissions and fees in order to enter that trade. Now with Tastyworks, they give you that right there. You just go to your history tab and you can see how much commissions and fees it costs you to enter that trade. So I know some brokers aren't as transparent, so you'll kind of have to fiddle with that to figure out what your entry cost might be. But yeah, let's go ahead and enter a long strike. Let's just say I went with 47.15 by 47.45. I have to make these up because let's just say I did 30 and $1.40. That'll give me my $1.10 net credit. Number of contracts, again, I would go with 5. And let's just do negative 17.81. Now, it is important that you do enter this as a negative number. If you enter it as a positive number, it'll mess up all the other calculations. It'll give you too much money in your balance. So make sure you enter this as a negative. And again, based on your brokerage's fee schedule. Okay, so now I'm in this trade. And let's just say for this trade, it expired worthless. So we captured all $1.10 of this trade. Now, in real life, we actually only captured about $1.05 of premium because we paid 5 cents in commissions and fees, but we ended up with 2.13% return on the day. Obviously, there's no exit cost because we didn't exit it. Everything just expired worthless, and all we do is just enter a Y for yes. We closed out of that spread. Okay, really simple. Up here, you'll notice that for the year, so far I'm at a 100% win rate, loss rate of 0. We've only made one trade, and our average profit right now is 550. Okay, cool. I like it. But what you also notice is on the daily tab, it automatically looked up this date that you entered here earlier. It looked that up, and it gives you your gross, your commissions and fees, and your gross P&L. And again, it tells you your daily return on capital. So it gives you the same information here, but in all sincerity, when it comes to the strategy, I consider all of my trades or all of my positions for one day, I consider that to be like one position. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many credit spreads I was in and out of throughout the day. If I'm green at the end of the day, and if I've made 1.5% at the end of the day, then I met my goal. So these are the numbers that actually matter on this in this tab. This journal, yeah, okay, cool. It gives you some pretty cool information or pretty cool values based on each individual spread, but the ones that matter are here on the daily tab. And you'll kind of see how that works. So what I do is at the end of every day, I kind of highlight it in a different color. Obviously, I had more trades on the third, but I'm only going to show that one. Let's get on to another day. Let's say, for instance, I got into on the 10th. Let's say I entered into a call credit spread. I got 70 cents for it again, a 30 wide strike. Now, it's going to suggest 5 contracts, so I entered in my brokerage. I get filled, 5 contracts. I'm happy, everything's going well. And then I decide I'm going to roll that strike. Well, to roll that spread. In order to roll it, I first need to close out this one. I mean, they happen simultaneously in the brokerage, but in your trade journal, we need to close out this spread, and we need to enter the new one on the next line. So that's what I'll do here. So imagine this one, and this is how this trade actually went. I received a credit for my long legs. Remember, I'm closing out that one spread. So when I closed out my long leg, I received a credit of 7 cents. When I closed out my short leg, I paid a debit of 20 cents. And obviously that's a net debit of 13 cents. I got a net credit of 70 cents, and I sold this one for 13 cents. Obviously, number of contracts was 5. Yes, it's closed. And my exit cost was 7.72. Okay, cool. But now I need to enter the new spread that I rolled to. Now, I'm going to enter 0.25 here and 30, and you'll see why. Because the strikes or the spread that I rolled to was 46.95 by 46.65. My long entry was 0.1, and my short entry was 0.48. So that's a net credit of 38 cents. Well, why did I put 25 cents here and not 38 cents? Well, that's because, yeah, I got a net credit of, I got a credit of 38 cents here, but I had a debit of 13 cents here. That's, between those two, that's a net credit, of 25 cents. So that's why I put 25 cents here. Let's go ahead and finish out this spread, and again, 1781. And there it is. Pretty simple. For the rest of that day, I closed out this spread here for 10 cents. And I actually got into a third one on that day. Where I received, that was probably oh no, that was a put credit spread. I did that just to get over my, I was probably, here. That's why. Okay, so as we're nearing the end of the day, I realized I'm not going to be able to get to my 1.5% goal. So it looks as though I got into a bull put spread just to get me over that 1.5% hump. So that's all that was, and I only got 20 cents for it. But again, that was enough for me to capture 80 cents and get me over that 1.5%. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I'll go in yellow or color this one out. I do it in alternating colors. That way it's easier for me to see the different days. Let's do, all right. I'll do the 14th of January. Now again, these are real trades that I made. For this first day, I only grabbed one of them, one of the trades I made that day. But the 10th, that was my whole day. The 14th, that was actually my whole day. The 14th was not a good day for me. It was one of my red days for the month of January. I only had 2 red days. Let me see. In real life, what did I really get in January? Oh no, I had 3 red days in January. Oh well. And this was one of them. So now you'll notice that my first bear call spread was I got net credit of 70 cents. I got out for a horrible loss. And a horrible loss insofar that I even got some pretty nasty slippage. So as you guys know, I set my stop only on my short leg, and I'll set it for 3 times the credit that I received. Well, I had received $1, so I would have set my stop at $3. But I got slippage all the way down to $3 or $3.53. Or up to $3.53. So got some nasty slippage there. I was able to sell the long leg for 70 cents. So I was able to get some of that back, but not quite all of it. So it happens. After a few more positions throughout the day, I ended up at a loss of 1.92%. Now, as you know, I allow myself, out of every 10 days, I allow myself 2 red days at negative 3%. This one, I was able to stay under that. I only lost 1.92% on that day. So that's good. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room. I'm happy about that. And typically, that's the case. It's very rare that I'll lose the entire 3%. Very rare. But yeah, it is what it is. Is there anything else that's fun and exciting here? Okay, so let's see what that actually does. Now, on a per trade basis, you see up here that we're winning 85.7% of the time. Okay? But we've only entered three different trade days. So if you were to look at these 3 days, if you were to look at them as actual days, I've only won 2 out of 3 days. So when you look at this tab, my win rate is 66%. That's because I only entered 3 days worth of trading so far for January. I'm not going to go through and add all the ones from January, but so you'll notice that this win rate is on a per day basis And this win rate is on a per trade basis. So there's a big difference there. And again, the one that matters to me, the one that's important, is this one. Typically, over the long run, you'll see those win rates start to converge. Obviously, the more trades you enter, and the more consistent you are, you'll see those numbers start to converge. But so what I'll do, because I want to show you an actual good month, an actual month, not just a few hand-picked trades. But what you also see is now we have an actual loss. So our average loss is 1065, and our average profit is 276. That's awful. That's horrible. But again, I've only picked a few trades. So let's do it for the actual entire month of February, so we can see some real numbers. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So I'm going to drag this whole thing. Now again, all of these trades these are all my real trades from the month of January. The only thing I changed on these is the number of contracts and the entry and exit cost, because obviously I paid a lot more in commissions and fees because I just entered with such with a larger position size. But but everything else is 100% accurate as to what I did in the month of February. I think I said January earlier, but I meant February. So this is the entire month of February. Now, you'll notice a couple things. One, current month started getting populated, or actually is populated. And this will show us some really good info. One, our win rate is 74.3%. So, remember, but that tells us our win rate on a per trade basis. When we look at the important one here in the February month, you'll see that our win rate is 72.7%. But our average win was 1.5%, which is awesome. That's cool. That's exactly what we're shooting for, right? A average win of 1.5%. That's perfect. But our average loss was only 1.7%, which means, and remember, we're shooting for -3%. So we're almost 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. It's almost there. So obviously, the reason I was able to meet my monthly goal is, even though I was only at 72% win rate, is because I kept my red days smaller than what they should have been. Obviously, I had 3 red days this time, so I had an extra red day this month. Yeah, what are you going to do? It does happen. But I was able to keep these other ones relatively small. These 2 red days relatively small, which in the end allowed me to beat my monthly goal, which is exactly what I was shooting for, right? I'm shooting for that 6.8%, and that 6.8% again is based on 11 days of trading. So I remember, if we go back to expected return, 11 days of trading is 6.8%. So this tells me that for the month of February, only trading 11 days. Obviously, there were 12 days to trade, but I didn't get to trade this day because I was traveling. But of the 11 days that I did trade, I should expect, based on a 0.6% return, compound return, I should expect a 6.8% return for the entire month. And I beat that by 0.06%. Okay, cool. I beat that by $15, give or take. But you also see that it gives you your expected yearly return. And remember, this yearly return is based on all the days you traded in February plus all the days you traded in January. So 3 plus 11 equals 14. If we go to our expected return, 14 trade days, that should give us 8.74%. And there we are, 8.74%. So this allows me to see if I'm meeting my goal, if I'm falling behind, if I'm way ahead. This allows me to see where I'm at, so I can kind of gauge if I'm on track to get to my 154% for the year. That's pretty much what it means. You'll notice I already entered in all the dates for March. Like I said, it's the last day of February, so I just go to my broker, enter those dates. Obviously, nothing's showing up here because we haven't traded in March yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see if there's anything else. I can't. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. So what I did was sometimes you'll notice that in your brokerage, when you exit a trade, it might exit you in multiple fills. And if that's the case, you might get one price on one fill and a different price on another fill. So I'll just give you an example. Let's just make one up. So I'm going to delete this. So we got $1.10 and $2.10. But let's say, as I'm looking at my brokerage, what happened was I got filled, I don't know, 1.05 and 2.05. And then I got filled on 2 contracts. Remember, because 5 total. So I got filled on 2 contracts at, I don't know, 1.11 and 2.13. I don't know. And then the other 2 contracts I got at 1.09. I don't know, I'm making this up. And 2.09. Okay. I like it. Oh, I want this to show more. Okay. So now what this will do is it will give you the values that you should enter into these cells. So your credit should be 1.09 and your debit should be 2.098. You don't want to copy and paste these into those cells, because if you copy and paste, like if you were to do Control C and paste it over here, what you're actually going to be pasting is the formula. And that's not what you want. So you actually need to look up here and enter that in. So 1.09 and 2.098. And that would give you the actual, well, that would actually make the math correct in order to, enter your exit into the journal correctly. What else is there? Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's another good one. Let's say at the end of the day today, let's pretend that I withdrew $1,000 from my account. So I would just enter the date, and I would enter -1,000. And so what will happen here is you'll notice my balance changed. And my balance changed up here as well. Right? This used to say 27,173. Let me show you what I mean. 27,173. But now it says 26,173. Also, the good thing is it did not change anything regarding my P&L, because we don't want it to, right? If we add $10,000, we don't want to all of a sudden, oh, we just made $10,000 of profit. No, that's not profit. It shouldn't be counted as profit. So it does not affect your P&L in any way, which is good. I can't remember. Did I already go over these? Oh, yeah, let's just do this. Okay, so that's for a withdrawal. If you want to deposit money into the account, no big deal. Let's deposit. Oh, before we deposit, let's do this. I want you to see how this will actually change. Let's pretend we have a. Normally, you wouldn't enter your deposit on the same line as a trade. You want to keep them separate. So if you're going to make a deposit or withdrawal, it should have its own line. In other words, here. Okay, so let's do that. So negative 1,000. So let's pretend that now on 3/2, which is I think is the next trading day. Let's say we got into a PCS. Let's just say for $1.30. It's still suggesting 5 contracts. Well, watch what happens to these 5 contracts when I change this to a deposit of 10,000. So if I were to deposit $10,000, or let's say 15,000, now you'll notice that it's suggesting that you sell 8 contracts in your spread. And again, the reason is because now it'll take 8 contracts for 80-cent premium capture net to equal 1.5% of that new higher balance. That's how that works, right? That's an important thing to understand. So always be mindful of the position size. Quick little caveat: if you are just learning this strategy, do not go in with the full 8 or 5 contracts. Paper trade this at least a couple months. And when you go live, only do 1 contract. You got to get the mechanics down, and it's not a hard strategy by any stretch, but it's still a strategy that has a lot of mechanics to it. So you want to make sure that you've got them down, or you're extremely comfortable with it. So go get in there with 1 contract. But in any case, so that's how you do deposit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You'll notice, I think I already talked about this, you'll notice that the fields here under the today column or heading were filled in. So what's nice is I can look at this quickly and see what my P&L will be. I know it says realized P&L, but it's not realized yet, so that's actually probably not a good title. I'm just going to say P&L. I can't think of a better term for it. And what that comes from is these two. You look here, sum of 625. But it also estimates your fees. And again, the estimator is based on Tastyworks fee schedule. It's not exact, but it's pretty darn close. And yeah, it'll give you. It'll give you some really good information there. I'm trying to think what else is there. Okay, you guys know. Okay, enter all the dates here at the beginning of the month. You guys know how to use this in order to see where you are for the month and for the year. Okay, let's talk about this down here. So like I said, these are the numbers that matter. This will tell you how many trades or how many days you've traded that month. This will tell you your P&L per day. And look at that, boom, I'm right there at 0.6. That's probably a little bit higher. Oh, I'm right there. Remember, we're trying to get 0.6 averaged out. We're trying to get 0.6 per day, and I'm right there at 0.6 for the whole month of February. So after 11 days, that averaged out to 0.6%. So that's exactly what I'm shooting for. Now, again, the following month, if I trade 13 days in a month, like I think March has 13 days. What am I doing? March has 13 trading days. Well, 13 trading days my expected return is 8.09%. So I'm not shooting for 6.8% every month. It just depends on how many trading days there are. Most months have about 13 trading days on average. Some months have more, some have less. So, this is a really nice tool to kind of see where you're going. Now, as of right now, I didn't enter all my trades from January. So I'm a little bit behind on my actual yearly return. Not a big deal. Who cares? Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's... I'm really... I think that's it. Let's just kind of go through. Give me 1 second. I think I talked about everything. So, again... You can find a link to my other video that shows you talks more about the actual strategy itself. You can find that in the link below. You'll find a link to the Google Drive so you can download this journal. I hope it does you well. If you find any problems with the journal, let me know in the comments. Look, I'm not a big YouTuber. I don't know much about YouTube, so I don't read these comments all the time, so bear with me if there's a delay. I'm just trying to do my best to help people out, and in the meantime, I'm stuck trying to learn how to use YouTube, so kind of bear with me. So that's probably why I'm sure the audio and video quality of this really are horrible, but it is what it is. I'm a trader, not a YouTuber, so. But anyways, if you like this video, thumbs up. That'd be awesome. If you want to subscribe, I'll probably be putting more videos out in the future. You can see my other video. If you don't like this video, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think you want me to talk about next. Just other than that, hey, happy trading and stay profitable. I'll see you out there. Take care.